Hakadosh Boker Or Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Peidaled Amud Aleph 84a1. We're starting on the last line of 83b. Ve'af Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yoseh. Also Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yoseh. Mata Kihai Maase Liadeh. There was a story that came to him also. The king appointed him to become in charge of getting the thieves. So he's the new police officer. Yeah. Paga be'Eliyahu. Eliyahu Navi met him. Elmaleh and Eliyahu Navi told the Bishma Rabbi Yoseh, until when are you going to come and give over our kingdom? Or when are you going to give over the Jews to be killed? So Elmaleh, he says, what am I going to do? What? It's the king. Elmaleh, he says, he said, your father, he ran away to Asya. You should run away to Ludkia. Now, again, obviously, right, we don't know exactly where these places are, right? We don't know when it was done, but it's mashma that he had to run away. So, Kihavu Mikal'eh, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, Ba'adei Adadi, when they used to greet each other, when they used to meet each other, right? Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yosef, and Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, right? Avi Ail Bakra de Torah Benayu. There was going to be able to come a Zug Bakar, right, beneath them, right? Velo avanagu behu, and it would not touch them. Meaning they were so heavy, right, that you could have the cattle coming underneath them and it wouldn't even touch them. Yeah, because they were so heavy. Amrala ayima tronita benechem elel shelachem. So there was a woman that she was a matronita. Remember, matronita was like the hierarchy of very important women in the government or things like that. So she went and she told them, you know what, your children are not yours. Why? Because if you can't have relations with your wives, so therefore you think they're your children are not even your children. Samrula, they told him, Shelahen gadol mishelanu. Says, what are you talking about? Their wife's stomach is bigger than theirs. Yeah? So then she says, Kol sheken. So even more so then. Right? Ika de'amri hachi amrula. So some people say that they told her, Ki chayish kevurato. Right? What does that mean? According to the greatness of the man is the greatness of his eved. Meaning, according to how big he is how big is his organ, his male organ. Or some people say that they told her, Ahava docheket et basar. Love pushes the flesh. And therefore, when there's love, it's able to push right on themselves in order that they should be able to penetrate, in order to go in. So the Gemara says, Velama lehula adurela. Why do they have to answer her, Bichlam? Do you know, you don't always have to answer. Sometimes somebody says something foolish. It says, Altan kesil kivalto. Don't even bother answering. You understand? Why? Because that's the ksil. So now you're going to start answering. You just ignore. And that's it. So answers the Gemara, the reason why they answered is Shelolo Tzi La'azal B'nehem. Meaning, you're right. In a normal situation, they wouldn't have answered at all. But in order that they don't want that there should be laws on their children, because this woman is saying that their children are basically mamzerim, that they don't come from them. So in order that there shouldn't be laws on their children, that's why they answered. But usually you're right. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have even bothered answering. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, Evred Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yoseh kechemet batisha kavin. The Eved of Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yoseh was like a chem, was like a node of 9 kavin. Yeah. So here it comes and it says, what type of Eved are we talking about over here? He wants to say it's a basara av of the zruah or the yarech. That's where they come and they check how shaman is the person. Other people say is achila. Other people, okay, so there's a whole, what exactly is the Eved that here that we're talking about? What? So he says, Amar of Papa says, Evred Rav Yochanan, the Eved of Rav Yochanan, he says, is going to be Kechemet bat Chameshet Kavim, 5 kavs. Okay? The Amrilan, some people say, but Shloshet Kavim, 3 kavs. That of Papa Gufe, of Papa himself, he says, Ki dikure de harpene. was like the ksalim she'asim beherpnia. What is that? He says it's like a sal, it's like a basket. So here it says that these Gemarot was brought down in order to show that the Chachamim were able to have children, even though they were very, very heavy, in order to take away any Irurim. You understand? That's what the first Tosafot says. Look at the first Tosafot on the page. Meaning, what are we coming? We're starting telling you, we're talking about measurements and like what's going on exactly. And the answer is that we're doing this in order to show that no matter how big they were, so too was their Evan, and therefore they were able to have children. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Ana ishtayre mishapira Yerushalayim. I actually was notar from the beauty of Jerusalem. Right? We know that he was actually one of the nicest looking, was very, very handsome. Okay? So he says, Haiman debaye mechse shufre de Rabbi Yochanan. If somebody wanted to see the beauty, the handsomeness of Rabbi Yochanan, naite casa de kaspa mibesilke, he would take a course of kesef that just came out from the kivshan ash from the fire, meaning a new cup. Umalie pratzida durumata sumka, he would fill it up with red pomegranate, and put it all around with a thing of flowers of reddish pinkish flowers. Put it between the sun and the shades. That sparkle or that shine is like the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan. Look how much things you have to do there, right? A beautiful concept. Yeah, I guess that was like a natural beauty. If you wanted to make your house into a natural beauty, obviously we know that when you have silver that you just took it out of the fire. Imagine you just polished silver. That's the nicest. It's not that it's you understand? So we're talking about shiny silver, right? Then you're taking the nice roses, putting it around, putting it between the sun and the shade, and having a beautiful, you understand? So says the Gemara, any is it so? The Amar More says, Shufre de Rav Kahana was like the Shufre of Rabbi Avu. The Shufre de Rabbi Avu was like the Shufre of the Yaakov Avinu. The Shufre de Yaakov Avinu was Shufre de Adam and Ishon. But here Rabbi Yochanan was not there. Meaning, what are you telling me that Rabbi Yochanan was so handsome, right? Here it says that Rav Kahana was almost like Rabbi Avu. And Rabbi Avu was a ke'en. It's like a taste of Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov Avinu was a taste of Adam and Ishon. But here we don't even have Rabbi Yochanan. So answers the Gemara, Shane Rabbi Yochanan, Adrat Panim lo havyaleh. Right? He didn't have a zakan. He didn't have a beard. And therefore, since he didn't have a beard, right, that's why he wasn't the same as anything else. Meaning, Yaakov Avinu, Adam Rishon, they all had beards. So since they have beards, right, that's why obviously, right, it was completely different, right, in that fact. Here, there was no beard. So the Gemara is going to continue with the story of Rabbi Yochanan, right? I'll take questions in a few minutes. So he says, Rabbi Yochanan avaz yirviyati v'sharet vila. How we now, since we're already talking about the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, so Rabbi Yochanan used to go and sit on the gates of the Tvila. Amar, and he said, Kisal kam benot Yisrael mitzvah. When benot Yisrael come out from doing a mitzvah, they should look at me. In order that they should have good-looking boys, like good-looking children like me. So Gemira Oraita Kavati, and they should also learn Torah like me. Amrule Rabbanan. So the rabbis told them, this is also Gemara Brachot. Lo mistefe mor meina bisha. So what? You're not afraid of a Ainara? So he says, Amalu, he said, Ana mizarad Yosef Katina. I come from Yosef Asadik, lo shalta ben abisha, that I don't have Ainara. Tichtiv, but it's written in Pasuk, Ben Purat Yosef, Ben Purat Ain. We're talking about Ben Purat Yosef, Ben Purat Ain. The Amar Bivu says, if you are declare Ale Ain, don't say that it's going to be on top of the Ain, Ela Ole Ain, that it's above it. What does that mean? It means since basically that the Ain cannot overcome it, Ainara. So Rabbi Yosef it's another pasuk. He gave the bracha v'malach hagoeloti that was given to the children of Yosef Tzaddik. So he says, "Madagim shebayam mechas mai mechasim itomen ayin shlo." Just like the gim shebayam, the water is going to cover it over, and therefore there's no Ain Hara Sholet on them. So tu Zaro Shel Yosef and Ain, right, which is going to be Sholet Bahen. It's not going to come, and it's not going to be Sholet, right, on them as well. So obviously, right, there's going to be this concept of, again, showing the beauty of Yerushalayim. That's what we're talking about until Yom Echad. So there was a story one day. Kasache Rabbi Yochanan b'Yardena. Rabbi Yochanan was shochen the Yarden, right, in the Jordan River. Chazir Shakish, he saw the Shakish. V'shavar Yardena uba'abatre. So he jumped in right after him. Meaning, he thought, right, again, one more time, Rabbi Yochanan didn't have a beard. So therefore, the Shakish thought it was a woman. So he jumped in after him. By the way, that's the reason why Baba Sali, he wouldn't look at a man if he didn't have a beard. Because if he didn't have a beard, it's almost a resemblance of a woman. So if a man did not have a beard, he wouldn't look at him either. Yeah, just to show you what it was. Yeah, that I heard from Rabbi Benaim. So he says, Elmaleh, he comes and he says, Hechal oraita. He says, what? Your koach is so strong that you go to the Torah. Yeah. Elmaleh, he told him. Yeah. One more time. Rabbi Yochanan was inside of the river. The Shakish jumped in. He didn't have a beard. So he went and he said, your strength should go to the Torah. Elmaleh, he comes and he says, Shufrech l'nasheh. Your beauty should be for women. What does it help to have such a handsome man? Now the beauty should go to women. Elmaleh, he says, if you're going to do teshuvah, right? If you're going to do teshuvah, Yavina lach achoti. I'll give you my sister, the Shapira Minai, that she's even more beautiful than me. Kabilale. He accepted it. By the Shakish wanted to go to get his clothing. Velo Metzia Daf. He wasn't able to get his clothing. He was so weak, he wasn't able to get his clothing anymore. Right? Obviously, the Torah is Mateshet Kochot Shel Adam, right? Which is an entire incredible concept. But here, by the way, it also shows you Rabbi Yochanan was the one in charge of the shidduch of his sister. Because who in nowadays age will be able to come and say, you know what? This thief over here, that he's the head of the bandits, I'm going to give you to my sister. And the sister's going to agree. Think about it. You know, it's like mimash, like we're talking about something incredible. Fine. Akruye ve'atune. So he says, Rabbi Yochanan taught him Mikra and Mishnah. The Shavia Gavra Rabba, and he made him into a great person. Yom Echad, one day, Hamumiflige b'midrasha. It was a machloket in Midrashim. Asayif, Asakin, Vapigyon, Varomach, Umagal Yad, Umagal Katzid, Me'em Atam Mekablin Tumah. So, to do with a sword, a knife, how do you translate all the rest? The dagger? Dagger, you have... Yeah, that's a dagger. The dagger, Romach is a spear. The Magal Yad is like a hand sickle, right? The Magal Yad is what they use for the reaping. Umagal Katzid, and the reaping, the sickle. When does it make Kabel Tumah? When you finish it. Rabbi Yochanan said, when you're going to heat it up in the oven to mechazek otam. The Shakish said, when you put it in the water. Yeah, because that's when it actually, after putting it in the oven, you put it in the water, and that's when it strengthens. So Elmaleh, so Rabbi Yochanan said to the Shakish, Lista b'listiyuta yada. Because you were a listim, you know exactly what it is. Elmaleh, he went and he said, Umaya hantali, what does it help me? Hatam Rabbi karuli, ve'achar Rabbi karuli. He says, 1 second. Yeah, well, there I was called a Rabbi, and here also I'm called a Rabbi. Meaning, what does it help? You know, when I was a bandit, I was the head of the bandits. And now that I'm a rabbi, I'm ahead of the rabbis. You know, what is it? Elmaleh, he says, he says, you know what, it helped you? And now you're under Kanfei Shekhinah. So Chalash Shated Rabbi Yochanan, he felt bad because of the answer that he told him. That basically he told him that I'm also called a Rebbe here. Meaning, here, if you look at the footnote, something incredible. That Shakish was like complaining to Rabbi Yochanan, why are you doing ona'ah? Meaning, what are you reminding me that I was a bandit? It's not nice. And Rabbi Yochanan thought it was the exact opposite. He was like throwing it in his face. What did you help me to bring me here, I was always the head anyway. So Rabbi Yochanan felt bad that Kilu, like what's going on over here? Atachte. So what happened is that Chala the Shakish became sick. So the sister of Rabbi Yochanan came and she started crying. Amra lei, she told him, "Aseh b'shvil banai, do it for my children." Amala, he said, "Azva yetomech, ani achaye." Right? He says, right? Leave the orphans. Right? What? I'm going to revive them. She said, "Aseh b'shvil menuti." Says, do it for me. That she's not going to become an almana. Amalma v'almenutecha alai tiftachu. Nafna shed Rabbi Yochanan Shimon. So Shimon Shakish, he passed away.
You want to pray for him. He sees the one says, pray that doesn't pass away, and he says, no, it's okay. Bring me the kids, and I'll.
Here it says something incredible. It says over here, the reason why was because he felt it was a zilzul in the kavod of the rabbi, and therefore, even though Resh Lakish was the most incredible student, it was worth him dying and not to have zilzul and kavod of the Rav.
Said I was a Rabbi.
Yeah, the Kilu, he was telling him, "What do you help me in my life? Oh, you brought me back and you did all these things." I mean, what do I need you for? As if that I was already called the master, and now I'm called the master. Like, what does it help? So the zilzul and the kvod Rav was so Rabbi Yochanan didn't want to be mochel. That's what it says here in the footnote. Look in the footnote. Something incredible. Yeah, mamash incredible. So he comes. Okay, this is based upon also Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz. Rabbi Yochanan batre tuva. So Rabbi Yochanan was mamash mitztaer. Amru Rabbanan. So the rabbis went and they said, right, who's going to go to appease Rabbi Yochanan? So they went, Rabbi Lazar ben Padat, the Mechad Nishmateh, that he was very, very sharp. Azalia Tikkameh, he went, call me to whatever Rabbi Yochanan said. Amar le'ten said, I've got to prove to you. Amar, he said, At kevar Lakisha. He says, what? Are you like Ben Lakish? By Lakisha, when I used to say something, he used to ask me 24 questions, right? And then I used to answer him 24 answers. So therefore, we learn more. Because there's 24 questions and 24 answers. Now you're going to come, you're going to tell me, I've got a proof to you. I need a proof? I don't need a proof. So he went and he tore his clothing, he was crying. Where are you? Where are you? Until he became crazy. So they asked mercy on him, and then he passed away. Yeah. So basically, it's something incredible. Meaning, Rabbi Yochanan was not able to forgive him because of the zilzul and kvod of the rabbi, but he basically went crazy without him. Yeah. Yes, 100%. Okay. 84b. And still, yeah, we're going back to the original story of Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon. Yeah, so it says, Lo samach Rabbi Lazar, but Rabbi Shimon that day was not somech al atzmo, kabila le yisureh, and therefore was mekabel al atzmo yisurim, in order that he should be forgiven for that sin. Which means, remember, we're going back to the original story, that technically Rabbi Shimon went and he said, this guy's a ganav, he's a rasha, right? Because he was a chatzuf to him. So he says rasha, they went and they killed him. And then he felt bad about it. And then what happened is that they went and they told him, what are you feeling bad? Him and his son went and they raped, they violated Narame or Rasan Kippur. So she was a married woman and they raped her on Kippur, right? And therefore it was fine. He was in a shah. And then he went, they took out the fat and it didn't become bad. And then, to show that, as if there was nothing wrong with what he did. Okay? Fine. Beorta, right? In the nighttime, they used to put 60 levadim. In the morning, they used to take out 60 carrot full of blood and pus. Right? Why? Because he had like a shechin. And therefore, right, blood and pus used to come out from all of his wounds. The next day, she used to make 60 different types of food, of figs, which was called libda. And then he used to become strengthened again. But she wouldn't let him go to the Midrash. in order that the rabbi shouldn't push him. Beorta, right? Because they were upset at him that he was getting all these thieves, and sometimes the thieves were family members of the Chachamim. So she didn't even want to get, let him go out to the Bet Midrash. So then it says, yeah, Betzafra, right? Sorry, Beorta Amar Lehu. So every single night he used to say, Achai v'rai bo, right? Come. So in the nighttime he used to ask for the Isurim. Betzafra in the morning he used to tell them, get out of here. Why? Because of Bitul Torah. Because Yisurim is not good for Bitul Torah. So Yom Achad Shamod Vitu. So once the wife went and heard, Amrale, she told him, I don't understand you. At kamaichtele, you're asking for it? Kilita mamon shel bet Abba. Right? You should know. You went and you destroyed all the money, right? Because of the food. You got rid of all my father's money. Imarda, right? She left. Azal Benasha, she went back to her father's house. Sliku ve'atu anach shitin sapunai. Oh wow! There was these guys that they came. There were a whole bunch of 60 here. It says here like sailors that they were saved in his zechut. They brought him 60 servants. Kinekita shitin arnake. When they had 60 arnakim, they used to do it. Right, and therefore, right, he was eating it. So Yom Achad, one day, Amrala lebrata, right, the wife went to the daughter and said, Zil baki bavucha, go check your father. My kavi, what's he doing? So Atya, he came. Amrala, and he told her, Zil go tell your mother, Shalanu gadol mishelahem, right, that we are richer than what you have in your father's house. So Kari nafshe, so therefore Lazar went and he said to himself, that he was like for like the Torah is like the boats, right? That they're coming, that they're bringing the bread from very far away. Meaning the wife went and she as it says, she ran away because well, don't worry about it. They went and they brought him everything. He had everything that he needed. Achal v'shate, so he was eating and drinking. Ubare so he went out to the Bet Midrash. Now remember, his wife didn't let him go out to the Bet Midrash. His wife's not around, so he went to the Bet Midrash. They brought in front of him 60 types of blood to find out if it was blood dav nidar or not. Yeah. So Tarinu, he permitted all of them. So the rabbis were saying, now what's going on here? Says what? There's 60 types that they brought in. Not one of them is a problem. Amar lehu, he said, Im kemotihu, yukulam zecharim. Says, you know what? If it's like me, all the children that are going to come out should be boys. If not, there should be one girl. Yukulam zecharim. All of them were males. And they were all called Elazar. Hamal, no? So it means 60 children were born, all of them were boys, and they all called them Elazar. So Tanya, we learned in the Braita, Amar Rabbi. Rabbi says, Kama pirya v'rivya bitla risha zot zo misel. Look how much pirya v'rivya, the Malchut Risha, was mevatel from Israel. Why? Because when they appointed him to come and to be Tofes Ganavim, right, it stopped him from going to the Bet Midrash. So therefore, the women were not able to show him the blood. And therefore, right, look what's going on. One more time. He was the one that was so expert in the bloods that he was always one that permitted them. When the government came and appointed him to become the head of the cops, right, the chief officer, in order to catch the bad guys, so therefore he wasn't able to go to the Bet Midrash. So because of them, it stopped so much Pidiyah V'Riviyah from Israel. Because then the women weren't able to show him the blood, because he wasn't coming to the Bet Midrash. And then Mimila, they weren't able to become pregnant. And then so look how much they stopped. So he says when he was going to die, Amarla Ledvitu, right, Rabbi Lazar said to his wife, Yadana b'derabanan tereticha alai. I know that the rabbis are very upset at me, right? Velo miaske bishapi. and therefore they're not gonna act properly towards me. Yeah, he says, I know they're not gonna. So what happens? Ognin, right? Bilatai, velati minai. Says, you know what? Just put me in the aliyah. Yeah, don't bury him. Just put him in the roof, but don't be afraid of him. Yeah, just leave him in the roof. That's it. Amar Rabbi Shimon bar Nachmani Ishtayli med Rabbi Yonatan told me the mother of Rabbi Yonatan, the Ishtayla Dvitu, the Rabbi Shimon, that the wife of Rabbi Shimon said, Lo pachom mitzabnezeh. He was there for 18 years. Velo tafeh mesinu treshnin, and not more than 22 years. Ognite bilate. Right? He was in the aliyah. He have a salik now. When I used to go up, me'ayna le b'mazye, I used to pay attention to his hairs. Ki have a mishtata binita mine. So when it was taking, what, she was taking out her hair? When her hair would fall, would come out from it. Meaning when the hair would come out from his, it would take, blood would come out. One day I saw a tolat coming out from his ear. I said, wow, what's going to happen now? That's it. So imagine 18 years. Nothing. No decomposition. Nothing. So he says, and he told me, don't worry about it. Right? He says, why? It was an onesh for something that happened. The Yom Achad, one day, I once heard that they went and they were disgraced the rabbi. And I didn't do anything. I wasn't mochen the kavod of the rabbi. So the fact that my ear heard that they embarrassed the rabbi and I wasn't moche, it was a tolat that came out of his ear. But that's it. But don't worry about it. Yeah? Look at the stories of the kavod of the chachamim. Something incredible. You're reading Gemara and you're like, this is yeah. When there were two people that came right to Bedin, Bava, they used to come to the house. Amar mominta morminta, nafi kala milyata. They used to come out a call from the roof. The Amar, and it says, Ish ploni ata chayav, ish ploni ata zakai. Everyone understood what just happened? One more time. He's keilu niftar. Two people come to Bedin. They wouldn't go to Bedin. They would go to his house. They would start saying the cases outside of his house. And from the roof, they used to hear the voice saying, you're chayav and you're zakai. Yeah, okay. Fine. So it says here, Yom Echad, Havaka Metzia Daf. So one day the wife of Rabbi Lazar was arguing with her shchina. Amrala, she said, Tehe ke'ba'ala shelo nitel lekavura. Right? You should be like your husband, that you're not given to burial. Amri Rabbanan. So when everyone found out, right? Kule hai. They said, what? Ad kedekach. Right? That he's not. That's not normal. It's not normal. It's not his kavod. Ika de Amri Rabbi Shimon Lazar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Chazal Bechelma, came to him in a, meaning the father of this is the father of Rabbi Lazar. Right? Yeah, exactly. Again? Yeah. Yeah. So Rabbi Lazar, yeah, Rabbi Lazar. This is Rabbi Lazar. Yeah, this is Rabbi Lazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So he says, he comes and he says, so his father came to him, and he told him, he says, what? I've got it by you. You don't want to come? Which means that he wanted to be buried beside Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Meaning, he went and he told them, what? You have to bury him beside me. So he says, Azul Rabbanan Asukebe, so the rabbis went, Lo Shavku Bnei Achbaraya. Right? The people of Achbaraya did not want to, because that was the place of Rabbi Lazar. All the time that he was there in the Aliyah, there was never a wild animal that came into the city. Yom Achad, it once happened, it was Erev Kippur, they were busy. Shadru Rabbanan livne bide. They sent big, big gangsters. Scholars say they took out his bed and they brought him to the cave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So they found that there was a nachash by the cave. So Amrula, they told her, Achna pitcha picha, yikanes ben etzel aviv. Open up your mouth so that way you could have the son going in by the father. Patach lehu, they opened up and they buried the Rabbi Lazar right beside Rabbi Shimon. So this is a story how you have Rabbi Lazar buried beside Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Meron. That's how you have it. He's right beside him. Huh? He's right beside him. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is right here and Rabbi Lazar is right here. Yeah, a few days before the moment. Look at this. 100%. Okay? Incredible, no? Fine. Shalach Rabbi. Shalach Rabbi ledaber beishto. So after the kavura, Rabbi sent a shliach to speak to his wife of Rabbi Lazar. V'shalach alei, and she said, Klisha nishtamesh bo kodesh, nishtamesh bo chol. Says what? A utensil that was made, whether it was used by kodesh, is not going to be used, meaning it's a bizayon for kodesh, so it's not fitting. Taman amnin, there they said in Eretz Yisrael, Ba'atar demare beita tala zayne kul baraya kulta tala, right? In a place where there was a yated, a peg, right? The Donabai was coming and putting up these things. Now a Roen Navala is going to do it. Shalach la, so he told her, right? Meaning Rabbi wanted to come and get married, right, to the wife of Rabbi Lazar. Are you guys listening? A shidduch between Rabbi and the wife of Rabbi Lazar. So she went and she told him, since her first husband was Kodesh, now there's going to be Chol that's going to use her. She's a Kli. So he went and he says, that's a beautiful one. It says, Taman Amrin, there we said in Eretz Yisrael, Ba'atar demare beta tala zayne kul baraya, right? Kul tala. Shalach la, so he sent her, Nehid v'Torah gadol mimeni, you're right, he's greater than me in Torah. Aval b'ma'asim tovim gadol mimeni, but is he greater than me in ma'asim tovim? Meaning, right, he's not worse than him. So shalchale b'Torah miha gadol mimcha lo yadana. He says, but Torah though, right, I wouldn't have known. Right? Ma'asim yadana. The ma'asim I would have known. Because he accepted upon himself Yisurim. So here it says in the Midrash that Rabbi Lazar used to say that all the Yisurim of Israel should come unto him. And that's the pshat. Yeah, that's the pshat why he says that a tzaddik is going to be mechaper al bnei doro through the Yisurim that come upon him. Yeah. He's a gadol. He's a lot. Yeah. It's a midrash. Midrash says this. The midrash says that this is what he used to do. Yeah. He's taking the. No, for sure you're allowed to do that. It's yeah. There's a whole thing about that. Yeah. But Torah. What about in the Torah? What was the Torah exactly? This is one more time. She went and she said Torah. She doesn't know. She doesn't know how to measure Torah. Ramasim tovim, yes. So she said, but Torah mahi. When Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, right, which was remember, Shimon Gamliel was the father of Rabbi. Okay? And Rabbi Shimon Korcha on the Safsalim. Yatvu Kamayu, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi were sitting around on the ground, like Talmidim. Makshu Mufarke. They used to ask question, answer. Amri, they said, Memehena Nushutim. He said, 1 second. We're drinking from their waters. They're sitting on the karka. Abdulu safsal skinu. They put them on the safsalim. He says, I don't understand. Gamliel comes and he said to the other chachamim, right? They've got a gazal, and you're gonna get rid of it, right? Achtul Rebbe. So they brought down Rebbe, and then they put Rebbe on the ground. He says, 1 second. Rabbi had a father, but Rabbi Lazar Shimon didn't have a father anymore because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away. So what? He's going to die? For sure, we have to take care of Rabbi Lazar Shimon. So if you're going to start, taking care of Ainara, right, for Rabbi, so it's going to be a problem. So therefore, Achtu Named Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, so they brought him down also as well, which means like this. If they took down Rebbe because Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon was greater than him, so now there might be Ainara. So if we're not protecting him, so you have to be careful. So Chalash Tate, so he was Chalash Tato. Amar, he says, Kachashvitu li kavati. Are you making that Rebbe is like me? Right? So he says, Adahu Yoma, Kiava Amar Rebbe Minta, when Rebbe used to say something, Hava Meser Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon. He used to come and he used to bring him a proof. Right? He used to come and he used to bring him a proof. Right? He says, Mikam Elach from then on. Kiava Amar Rebbe, when Rebbe used to say something, Yesh li lashiv, Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, Kach vekach shesh lecha lashiv. Right? He used to say, Avazoi tshuvatecha, but this is your answer as well. Hashta ikaftunu tshuvot chavilot shema mamash. So now you have a whole bunch of questions that there's no mamashut. Meaning now Rabbi Elazar became a little bit more feisty. So chalash tateh de Rebbe, so he became, he was chalash tateh. Ve'ata amale le'avua, so he went and he told his father, right? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, right? He went and he told his father, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, look what's happening. Amale, he told him, Beni, adi ela lecha. Don't worry about it. Shuari ben Ari, right? He's a lion, the son of a lion. Vata Ari ben Shual, but you are an Ari ben Shual, which means, right? Don't worry about it. He has the gadlut because of his father, but it's not the same by me. Meaning that's why he's better than you, because since he's a tzaddik ben tzaddik, that's why he's better than you. And that's why Rabbi says Shloshan vatnin. There are three people, right, that there were very anavs. Who are they? Velu and Abba, his father. Why? Because his father called himself that he was like a shual. He was like a fox. Ubnei Betera and Yonatan ben Shaul. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel had the Amran, that's what we just said right now, because he called himself a shual. Bnei Betera damar mor, Hoshiviu barosh, they put him, right, as a nasi on him. That means they put Hillel, and then they put him because of Vatnuto Shel Yonatan ben Shaul, the Kamaleh that he told David, Vatatim noch Yisrael, Vanochi el Echal Mishneh, which means, think about it, Yonatan ben Shaul, he was the prince, he was the next king in line, and he tells David Melech, you're going to be the king, I'm going to be your minister. That takes greatness, that takes anava to do such a thing. But again, this is all talking about the concept of anava.